Hi, I'm Dan, and welcome to Polish Currency and video number 16. I've gotten a few questions about the U.S. Treasury issuing a commemorative banknote for the Semiquincentennial celebrating the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The questions got me thinking, a very dangerous thing. But it was about the 1976 $2 Federal Reserve note. It's widely assumed that the 76 $2 bill was the first and only commemorative banknote, yet it was not specifically issued to celebrate the bicentennial. The reissuance of the $2 bill was actually produced as a cost savings measure, and we all saw how that worked out. Well, it was the 70s. Although it is a confirmed fact that 98% of all $2 bills wind up in a sock drawer. Well, that's not true, but you get my point.
But of course, there is legislation for semi-quincentennial commemorative coins, and it's already 2 years old. House Resolution 4429 was introduced in 2021, directing the U.S. Mint to produce coins for the 250th anniversary. Anything about paper? That's correct. Nothing. Well, now that I've ruined everyone's day about the non-commemorative 1976 $2 Federal Reserve note, I might as well go on a rant for those of us old enough to remember the U.S. Mint who did go to town with commemorative coins in 1976. Not just taking up 1 year, but 2. Well, lucky for you if your birth year was 1975, you only get the cent, nickel, and dime. Oh, sure, us paper currency collectors, we could get a brand new 1976 $2 bill at the bank, go over to the post office, which is always super convenient, buy a bicentennial stamp that won't be used, have it postmarked, wait 47 years, and then sell it for $10 on eBay. Maybe. By the way, accounting for inflation, and less the cost of the stamp, that's about what $2 was worth in 1976 as compared to today. That's ironic. In the meantime, you couldn't swing a dead cat in 76 without hitting bicentennial coins, the annual mint set. There was the circulating coins themselves, the 3-coin 40% silver flat pack, and the same coins packaged in a leatherette and velvet booklet with a ribbon. Ooh, the luxury. And those were just from the U.S. Mint. And let's admit it, even with a whole entire design contest, only the quarter was pretty good, and it was just the reverses. Adding insult to injury, it had already been raining commemorative coins issued by the U.S. Mint since 1892. Some very, very important events were recognized, including the Cincinnati Music Center, something called Fort Vancouver, and my favorite, the Elgin, Illinois Centennial. I mean, why shouldn't the entire country celebrate a third-ring suburb of Chicago centennial with a commemorative $50? As far as the moderns go, I've got nothing against the Boys and Girl Scouts, but really? I'm just saying, a commemorative coin? I just don't understand why a paper commemorative is so difficult for the U.S. Bureau of Engraving and Printing to make. Yes, I get the counterfeiting issue, but how about just doing the reverse of it? Leave the front alone. And here's what's even more ironic. I have quite a few commemorative banknotes from every continent dating back to the 1950s, and Canada wins the prize for the oldest commemorative that I've discovered. I don't have this bill because, I'd have to sell at least 3 internal organs on the black market, even with the Canadian exchange rate. The expensive banknote celebrates the silver jubilee of the accession of King George V in 1935. FYI, he's the great-grandfather of King Charles III, and the denomination is $25. That's super cool. And Canada didn't stop there. In 1967, their $1 bill commemorated the 100th anniversary of Confederation of Canada, and they issued a $10 note in 2015 for the 150th, along with a $20 in 2012, recognizing Queen Elizabeth II as the longest reigning sovereign. I'm just asking, what is our deal? I mean, seriously, there are many, many countries that have issued banknotes celebrating bicentennials, 25 years of banking. That's right. Banking. 2 of them. The Asian Indoor and Martial Arts Games, an especially important event. One country recognized 40 and 60 years of independence. Again, with the denomination of 40 and 60. It's just super cool. And taking the cake, and by cake I mean birthday cake, is Thailand, issuing the 60 baht celebrating King Rama IX's 60th birthday. It's a beautiful square banknote that measures about the same width as U.S. currency. But seriously, a birthday commemorative banknote. And we can't even kick out one simple semiquincentennial commemorative dollar bill.
Wow. Okay, end of rant. That was a long one. With my sarcasm aside, there is a thread of history that the U.S. Treasury did make a commemorative banknote. Kind of. It is true that the United States government has never officially issued an out-and-out commemorative piece of paper money. But there is one banknote that does have definite commemorative implications that honored the centennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition, which also being celebrated was the Lewis and Clark Centennial, an American Pacific Exposition and Oriental Fair in Portland, Oregon. Wow, that's a long name.
While not technically a World's Fair, the exposition was certainly more than a regional fair and a big deal for a relatively small Pacific Coast city of about 150,000 residents. Like all of the other expositions during a century of World's Fairs, it was a showcase of progress. From June to October 1905, over 1.5 million people visited to learn about scientific and technological advances, see moving picture shows, watch motorized blimps maneuver in the sky, cheer the winner for the first transcontinental auto race, and marvel at the power of electric lighting. The exposition featured exhibits from 21 countries and 19 states, all who built temporary, large, and elaborate independent venue buildings. Portland grew to 270,000 residents by 1910, a growth spurt that has been directly attributed to the exposition. And there was a few souvenir numismatic items issued for the exposition. Medals and tokens primarily, and of course, the U.S. Mint just had to put out a commemorative coin, the 1904-05 $1 gold coin. It's kind of odd and could be considered a two-headed coin. Lewis is on the obverse and Clark is on the reverse. The coin is just over a half-inch in diameter and is smaller than a dime. See, I'm talking about coins right now. And what was the possible commemorative banknote? What is incorrectly nicknamed the buffalo note? The animal is a bison. These are buffaloes, as you can see by my handy chart that I've put together for everyone. The note is officially called the Lewis and Clark Series 1901 Legal $10 note. It was undoubtedly issued to generate interest in the upcoming Lewis and Clark Centennial and American Pacific Exposition, and also designed to commemorate the centennial of the historic 1804-1806 journey of exploration led by Captain Meriwether Lewis and Lieutenant William Clark to evaluate the newly acquired Louisiana Purchase. The front of the note depicts a North American bison in three-quarter profile. The level of artistry and engraving skill is just incredible on this note. Flanking the iconic center bison vignette is Captain Lewis to the left and Lieutenant Clark on the right. The female allegory figures holding palm fronds is a bit different, and the one behind Lewis is an angel. You can see the wings. I have no idea why Clark didn't get an angel. The note is well balanced with the capitals of the pillars providing the upper left and right corner borders. The seal, serial numbers, and Roman numeral denomination are boldly displayed in red, making this note a showstopper. Short sidebar: it is interesting that the legal obligation is different from other legal tenders, stating, "This note is a legal tender for the $10 subjected to the provisions of Section 3588 RS. Don't know what that means. The standard legal tender note obligation is on the reverse. The statement only appeared on this legal tender note. The reverse is the allegorical female figure Columbia standing between two pillars and scrolls bearing the legal obligation. I have no idea what she is holding above her head, and I really researched this. Anyone?
Bueller. Bueller. Bueller.
Leave a note in the comments if you know, please. The left and right negative white space is to display the embedded red and white anti-counterfeiting threads. I will say this. This is probably one of the few banknotes that features flip-flops. Columbia is certainly ready for the beach. The identity of the bison has long been in question. One theory is that the model was a live bison named Pablo at the Washington Zoo, and another has it that it was a stuffed bison on display at the Smithsonian. To this day, it really isn't clear. What is clear? It was not Black Diamond, the bison from the 1913 Indian head or buffalo nickel, also incorrectly named. That bison was housed at Central Park Menagerie, which is today's Central Park Zoo in New York City. The original sketch of the bison was by Charles Knight, an American wildlife and paleo artist best known for his detailed paintings of dinosaurs and other prehistoric animals. The legal tender note was engraved by Marcus S. Baldwin, and for you philatelists out there, he was also the artist of arguably the most famous U.S. stamp ever issued, right side or upside down. And for us numismatists, Baldwin also engraved the left vignette, Agriculture, on the Series 1914 $10 Federal Reserve note, and the reverse Panama for the Series 1914 $50 Federal Reserve note and the 1918 Federal Reserve banknote. Baldwin's bison engraving has made a few other appearances. The bison was also featured on the 1923 30-cent stamp, and from 1970 to 1973 appeared on the reverse of the $1 Series 692 Vietnam War-era military payment certificate. This $1 note also happens to be the last issue of any military payment certificate, as they were discontinued in 1973. One can argue that the 1901 $10 legal tender note is one of the finest examples of American artwork on national paper currency. The note ranks number 6 in the 100 greatest American currency notes. This legal tender note is highly sought after by collectors, with 7,000 to 9,000 notes estimated to still exist. The note is part of a trio of very highly collectible banknotes that all rank in the 100 greatest American notes. The Series 1901 $10 legal tender replaced the Jackass note, the Series 1880 $10 legal tender note, featuring a very dour Daniel Webster. That ranked number 71. The Series 1901 was issued for over 20 years and was replaced by the Series 1923 $10 legal tender note, better known as the poker chip for its reverse. That ranked number 46. That's a really impressive run of any kind of banknotes.
Maybe the Series 1901 $10 legal note wasn't a commemorative, but hey, it's my story. And thanks to the Society of Paper Money Collectors for making Cliff Merck's 1966 article available. What is certain that the banknote captured the attention of a nation at the turn of the 20th century and still does today with collectors. It was issued at a time when the West was settled, manifest destiny had been achieved, electricity was still a magical technology, and the automobile was at the dawn of replacing the horse. The note represents a look back with Lewis and Clark and the bison of a time that had passed, but was still recognizable for those in the present of 1901. Not many banknotes can tell a story like that, so I'm going to commemorate it. But before I wrap up, I have to give a shout out to Dean at MassabesicGoldandSilver. He's got a great channel, and even though it's mostly about coins. But I may be converting him to currency. Maybe. He had a giveaway for celebrating 500 subscribers. Congratulations, Dean. And I was lucky enough to receive the Canadian $2 coin from him. I actually really wanted it because, well, you should be able to figure it out. And the toonie gets a special place on my desk. Thanks, Dean, for what you do, and I'll leave a link below to his channel. He's definitely worth your time. Well, that's it for video number 15. I appreciate your time, and if you like what you see, hit the thumbs up button, feel free to leave a comment, and please subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in 2 weeks, and thanks for checking in.